across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Oh, hello, good morning to you. What a delightful Sunday it is shaping up to be. Do you know what sort of Sunday I think it is? I think it's that sort of Sunday where you do exactly what you want to do, get yourself prepared for the next week. And we're going to help you do that. We're going to give you a sort of summary of the week's news, rattle through those Sunday papers, but also put you in a sprightly spirit. Because, of course, coming up in the second half of the show is Weird Hour with Paul Cox. And this week, I have spent the whole week when I should be, I don't know, kicking back, putting my feet up, doing weird things in the countryside. No, I've been thinking about you guys. I have been going through the newspapers like some sort of truffle pig for oddness to pull out all the news headlines that everyone else has missed. And we have got a lot. So strap yourself in, because there's a lot of news that doesn't really make the top 10, doesn't circulate regularly on the legacy channels, but oh no, we find it. We're like little detectorists going around with our sort of sweepers, looking for anything that glints and shines that could be peculiar and might tickle your fancy. So all of that is coming up. But we are, of course, going to kick off being a little bit more serious. And in order to help us do that, I've got a very serious person in the studio. He looks a little bit frazzled today, if I'm honest with you. It's Mr. Benedict Spence. Hello, my love.
Hello.
Hi.
It's a Sunday. I'm not supposed to be put together. I'm supposed to look slightly dishevelled.
None of us are put together on a Sunday.
I need to look as if I have better things to be doing, and I've dropped in to do the courtesy of talking to you, even though we both know I have nothing else going on. So, yeah, that's the image that I'm trying to cultivate.
You know, last night, actually, I went to an event in Thurrock Yacht Club, no less. And it had sea shanties, a guy called Hoy Boy who was amazing.
Where is Thurrock?
Near Grays, like Essex.
Oh, I thought it was the other way.
It's basically when the Thames gets big,
I thought it was
where
the
the
other
Thames
side.
starts looking like an ocean.
I don't know why I thought it was in the other direction, but yeah, I thought it was in the Cotswolds or somewhere.
Can you be in charge of Iran's ballistic missiles, please? Because that's the sort of attitude we like.
Well, this is exactly the sort of slightly dishevelled, not quite prepared for life sort of attitude.
Oh,
Thurrock. That's Oxfordshire, isn't it?
That's what I feel like every morning.
Yeah.
But no, it was a brilliant event last night. I met so many cool people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give a little shout out. I did not go on a yacht.
Why didn't you go on a yacht?
Well, they weren't my yachts. It was in the
Did nobody feel
building
that they could
of yachtery,
invite you on their yacht?
I'm not sure the people in the building of yachtery were the owners of the yachts. I'm not sure.
What were they doing there then?
They were there to listen to sea shanties.
Was this a break-in or something?
Yeah,
this is lots of fun.
It was almost a lock-in, I'll tell you that much. Oh, I met some great people. Sophie, Peggy, Maureen. We were getting our knees up. We were dancing,
The Metropolitan Police are sat here going, yeah, did you get any of their surnames of these people that broke into the yacht club? Which is, none of this is helpful. Peggy, who could that possibly be?
I tell you what I learned. This is basically one of the best business models I've ever seen in the hospitality sector.
Stealing yachts? Yeah.
No, but every time someone went to the
overheads.
bar to order wine, they said, we only sell it by the bottle, which I now consider the Essex measure.
Yeah, well,
So-
so you had a great old time, is what you're saying.
I did, and you know, I had to mic drop. I had to do the Irish exit at 10 o'clock to get back to London to get a decent night's kip to function today.
Yeah.
I was so close to not doing that. I was having too much fun. I was like, well, you know, who needs to go present a show anyway?
It would have been fine, though. They'd have got you here on time. They'd have just driven you on a yacht up the Thames. That's how they'd have got you here.
Oh,
yeah.
wow, that would have been really good.
You see, you didn't think this through.
There you go,
that would have
Chris.
been the panache.
Here's an
that you
idea.
need.
When we start taking a Sunday brunch show on the road, let's mark Thurrock Yacht Club as a place to be, especially in the summertime.
Where else are you going?
Oh, I don't know. We've got these
Just
ambitious...
Thurrock so far.
Just that.
What's the next place? Grays, you said. So
Oh, yeah,
coming
no,
this summer,
our big
Thurrock,
plan.
Grays, Southend, who knows?
No, our big plan, because we're like, wouldn't it be great to take this show on the road and just be in pubs, basically, like Sunday pubs? And our big target, the main event, and this is where you're going to be up for this, you're going to subscribe to this one, is we want to, maybe around Christmas time, go to Lanzarote and do a live broadcast from Lands. Can you imagine? Find a friendly on-side pub.
I wonder if you'll get this past the senior people at this station. Listen, what I want to do
The senior people at
is
the
basically
station, if they're invited,
I was
will
going
love
to say,
it.
are they going as well?
Oh, they'll come.
What I want to do is go on holiday. Will you let me take a microphone
No, do you know what would
and
be really
broadcast
good?
from
Like
there?
a really good sort of stage right exit coming in on a shop mobility scooter. You know,
like in
on the seafront of Lanzarote, you get a lot of the mobility scooters for hire, like in Benidorm.
Yeah, that's it.
Like-
Benidorm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that going to be you?
Riding dirty, coming in on the shop mo. know. It'd be amazing. Right,
wow.
we've got to get serious now because serious things are taking place. Well, very serious things are taking place in the world.
Yacht theft.
Yacht
all
theft.
across Essex. It's appalling.
But also the revelation that potentially Iran's missiles, ballistic missiles, which go into space and back down, could have the sort of range that could put London Talk Towers in the crosshairs. Now, I know you do a lot of media stuff for our friends in the Middle East.
And now I'm not going to be doing any. I'm going to be keeping stum. I'm going to be playing as well as I can so that they don't land a missile on my house now that I've learned they can get to me.
You don't live next to Fairford. If anyone's going to get a missile through the attic, it's me. At least I'm just going to live in the cellar. Well, that'll be fine.
Yeah,
I've got a bunker.
absolutely fine.
No, but seriously, let's talk about this because when I first saw this and saw the attempted attack on Diego Garcia, one plopped into the ocean, the other got intercepted. A couple of things passed my mind. One was, did they get launched from Tehran, or is Tehran launching these things from somewhere else? Because at one point, do you remember, there was an Iranian warship near the coast of Sri Lanka that got taken out. So is there something else? Do these missiles really have that range, was thought one. Thought two was, if these missiles have that range, why haven't Iran been saying we can bomb you all along? Because that seems the sort of thing they'd love doing. And then the third thing is, get my tinfoil hat, whack that on.
Okay.
Maybe these intercepted missiles either didn't exist or they came from somewhere else in order to sort of shake people like Keir Starmer and, you know, the European members of NATO who are going, we don't want to get involved. It's nothing to do with us, into going, OK, whoa.
Well, nobody knew that they had them beforehand, and therefore you have to test them at some point. And if nobody knew they had them, it's because they weren't tested. This is possibly, therefore, just an attempt to see whether or not these things do actually work. And it's also, I suppose, a demonstration, which is that if you have something of that kind of range, it's not that useful in the grand scheme of things unless you're going to hit a military target, which is, you know, you would assume, as in the case of Diego Garcia, it's going to have protections of its own. Where it becomes more concerning is if you can fit a nuclear warhead on the front of it. And the whole point of this has been, supposedly, that Iran is developing nuclear warheads but isn't there yet. And it's that kind of thing where I wonder if this is more a sort of a demonstration to say, well, look, we can hit you from this distance. You know, these aren't empty threats. You know, because if they get a nuclear weapon, let's say, with what conventional systems they had before, they could hit Israel, obviously, they could hit bases in the region, they could hit the Gulf states. But I think there was probably a sense from European nations that they were fine, and from the United States, obviously, that they were fine. If European nations think, oh, we can be hit by these things, which means that US bases on our territory are viable targets, that means that there's going to be a lot more pressure, or they would hope that there would be more pressure applied by Europe on the United States by saying things like, well, we'll kick out your bases. Like, you know, we can't have these things as viable targets there. So without having got to the nuclear stage yet, they're then able to say, but we are getting there because you haven't found it yet. And that's the whole thing. When Donald Trump said this war could be over in about 4 weeks, that sounded like concerningly close to the time frame in which Iran could go from its current levels of enrichment to weapons grade. So it wasn't so much a, oh, we could be done in 4 weeks. It's more kind of a, we might have 4 weeks. And then we might have to ramp things down because they might get these things. And then we might have to reassess our situation.
So this is what is concerning, actually, because I know that, my favourite phrase, bunker buster bombs, I know that they were in action last night, and that the US has been striking underground uranium enrichment sites. But the concern is that the bunker buster bombs go 200 metres below surface level. But it's believed some of these layers are about 350, that they might actually sort of remain unscathed.
Those dastardly Iranians, they worked out that these things only go 200 metres and they thought, hang on, why has nobody thought of this before? Let's go a little bit further underground. Yeah, but the thing with that is, of course, you don't just necessarily have to hit the facilities themselves. You might just have to hit the access points, because, of course, these things have to come up above ground anyway. So you do buy yourself, even, you know, this idea that, oh, well, it's futile to do this, you do buy yourself time every time you do that, because then obviously they have to get crews out there to try and redig these things. They're sitting targets. So it's not a futile attempt. You can delay this by weeks or possibly months doing that. But I take your point. You're not going to be able to necessarily hit the sites or even identify them all yourselves.
And I mean, what do you make of what is going on here? Because the big questions that I have, that I'm sure the audience has, is why has the reception to Trump trying to sort out the Iran problem from Western Europe been so...
angry?
Well, not angry. What is it? What is the reception? Because it seems to me that what the Western European countries have done from the beginning is just fire out a load of press releases going, not us, not us, don't target us, nothing to do with us. Is that weakness? Is that because perhaps we had intelligence and if we get embroiled in this, then whoa, we could be in big trouble?
It's huge
is it because
weakness.
they're concerned about reprisals on our own shores from IRGC and sleeper cells? What is going on here with this mindset?
All of the above. The thing is, you can't really overestimate the insanity of so much of Western policies, both domestic and foreign, over the last couple of decades. You can only put it down. And of course it's funny because these people like to try and portray themselves as sensible centrists who just base policy on evidence. It's not. It's all about ideology. It always has been, but it's been couched very cleverly in terms of pragmatism and reasonableness. But the reality is, mass migration on the scale that we've had with the border approach that not just us, other European countries have taken as well, was always going to mean that issues around security were unbelievably...
Right, you leave your front door unlocked, some bad people are going to come in and try and nick your telly.
Once upon a time, you know, the Russians would have to try and, you know, turn people that looked like you or that were ideologically traitorous to try and get spies into Western Europe. Well, now, it doesn't matter. You can just go train your own person on your own soil and say, go on, say that you're an asylum seeker. Or, you know, take a job working, you know, in some highly skilled industry or something that they're lacking
go on a student visa.
There's so much of this sort of thing. I mean, the insane thing, actually, that we don't talk about, because we all talk about it through the prism of Islamism, is China. That is just the most outrageous. The sheer number of people that come to the West on student visas who are here for espionage reasons, and they're not even, you know, they don't even pretend to hide it. And we're fine. Well, we shouldn't be fine with it. But our governments sort of take the attitude which is, oh well, a free exchange of ideas, and they bring money, and maybe they'll be nice to us. And you just
they pop up the universities.
Well, they
have like everything else. There's too much waste, and we can't afford things.
Because Europe has decided it's going to flirt with a new ideology, which is degrowth. Because actually, it feels that it's hit peak civilization, and anything above that would be gauche. So it doesn't actually want to do anything else. It just wants to sit there. But it then will sit and be very upset when the United States does not defend its territorial integrity, its security apparatus, and it will get very upset when the United States does anything to defend its own interests that could jeopardize their security interests. It's genuinely Europe's approach.
It's
unbelievable. And when I say Europe, that is us, because we are still ideologically.
I think we've now become the most insane in the asylum.
We are, because we've actually... The insane thing is, Brexit actually loosened the rules about how much they could implement this sort of thing, and they've gone harder on things like immigration. It's the idea that Brexit ever happened in any meaningful sense. We lost a bit of trade, it's caused a small hit to GDP, and they've just turbo-maxed things like immigration and diversity, equity and inclusion and green policies. That's all that's happened.
What are we to read into? Because, you know, this government is so far up the backside of China, you know, it's just ridiculous. But what are we to read into the fact that Iran has said, OK, things aren't going to be going in and out the Strait of Hormuz unless it's some of our mates. That's you, China. Just you, China. Yes, I get they need to sell their oil and gas. And yes, their biggest customer is China. But there's a lot of speculation about how much China behind the scenes, and indeed Russia, is helping Iran. Whether it's for a long time, I think there were sort of, you know, conjoined programs. We know there were, you know, military exercises together, naval exercises, so on and so forth. We know that China, at the very least, supplies parts for the creation of weaponry. It is believed that Russia is providing satellite support and intelligence to help show the Iranians where they should be firing their missiles, where various air bases are. But how interconnected are they? Because we're still saying, yes, you can have a mega embassy. Yes, we want to do trade with you. Will you make our solar panels?
I think, the tricky thing with that is there's no ideological alignment between them. That's the key thing. It's not, they're allies for practical purposes. And this was always the case, actually, with China and Russia.
China's just a cheap date, isn't it, basically?
China is not interested in global communism or anything like that. It's not the Soviet Union. China wants to be wealthy, it wants to be powerful, and it wants to not have to worry about the United States cracking down on what it wants to do. Russia wants basically the same. It's not interested in some sort of great political ideology. Russia wants to be a world power. It's happy to be the third world power, but it wants to be at that top table. It doesn't want the humiliation of the dissolvement of the Soviet Union or anything like that anymore. It's key thing here, both of these countries are driven very much by the sense of humiliation by Western powers.
Right, because they're huge. They've got massive populations, enormous land masses, and they're sort of like, we need resources. They're hungry mouths.
Yeah, they don't look at Iran and go, oh, these guys are our buddies. They look at them and go, okay, for as long as these people are doing what they're doing, they tie up US interests in that region. For as long as there's a war, then they massively tie up US interests and possibly deplete US stores of weapons that they could be giving to Ukraine, or in the event of an invasion of Taiwan, using there. So that's obviously in their interests as well. And they also look at it from the flip side, which is if the US and Israel get what they want, well, that's oil that we don't control or have full access to. And it was a similar sort of situation to Venezuela. That's partly why the United States is doing what it does. And I know lots of people, you know, they go, oh, it's all about oil, it's all about oil. Well, yeah. Of course it's all about oil.
Exactly.
Like,
it's
you
about
get to decide how things work.
Making
and again,
money, geopolitical leverage.
And again, to go back to the hilarity and stupidity of Europe, Europe seems to be the only part of the world that has forgotten that you need oil, that you need things like that for your economies to work. This idea that it's possible to have a net zero world, even the true net zero, you notice it's not oil free. They understand you still need it. You just need to offset it with other things. The problem is the degree to which they think you can offset the use of oil is impossible. But please tell me, everybody, can anybody actually envisage a post-plastic world?
Right.
A post-fertilizer world. It's impossible.
Right, I have to sort of smother myself with paraffin-based emollients every morning, which, guess what, comes from oil.
Yeah.
You know, people just think oil's about, what, heating things up, fires, and, you know, chugging chimneys.
They think it's about your car and your central heating. It's not. It's about everything. And
medicines.
These things are essential to modern life. You take them out of the equation, you don't get modern life anymore. So yeah, sorry everybody, it is about oil. And
just
you better hope that it's your side that has the oil, not the other side.
I think
that's the basic thing about this.
Should we set up a new action group?
Just Start Oil.
Just Start Oil, and go and sort of, you know, stand in the east coast of Scotland and scream for grilling.
But honestly, yeah, and this is something that I keep on having to sort of front up to, which is that you get the country you deserve. There are so many people in this country who seem to think that this oilless future is possible. It's not. I'm sorry. And that will mean that there are some rather awkward interventions in countries that have oil that have slightly nasty regimes. What's going on there?
I don't know. I feel like Luke, the tech op, is playing threatening music, so I have to go to a break.
It's James Bond.
He loves it. He's trigger happy in there.
Is there an oil?
He's loaded from yesterday. He's loaded so many theme songs in. He's gone crazy with the buttons.
That's really
He's button mad. Anyway, press that button for break, would you? We'll see you soon.
The Crown is facing its gravest test in decades, and the royal tea from Talk is your front row seat. With royal reputations under pressure and probing questions about public trust, we unpack every twist and revelation with the biggest names in the business. From the throne room at Buckingham Palace to a mansion in Montecito, we follow every royal ripple. Never miss a moment of The Crown in crisis. Subscribe to the Royal Tea from Talk on the app or wherever you get your podcasts.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello. Right, Yvonne in Somerset said, just wanted to say what a great lineup for Sunday morning. Me and Mark Dolan. Woohoo! Well, that's going to be every Sunday, Yvonne. That's it. I've made my bed and I'm going to sleep in it. This is my new tasty little slot. Friday, Saturday and Sunday, 10 till 1, every single week. So you know where I am now. I mean, I've kind of like been playing musical chairs, haven't I, in this on this radio station. You never quite know where to find me. I'm like a bar of soap in the shower. I'm like all over the place and always present, but never really within your grasp. But now you can actually put it in your diaries, set your calendars and your alarm clocks, give up everything you normally do in that time period and just, you know, sit there, have a three-fingered coffee, I suppose. It used to be a three-fingered gin and tonic when I was doing the lates, but I wouldn't encourage morning drinking, depending on, you know, circumstances. But there you go. That is where I'm always going to be from now on. So thank you for that. Morning, Alex and Benny. Do you like that?
Who's that?
This is Betty.
Is it?
Betty, who's definitely not called Betty,
Okay.
because it always says, the sign-off is always Betty, but then you know when you have WhatsApp and you put your name in your profile, that bit also pops up. So you can sign it off as Betty, but I see you.
Okay.
I don't know what you're really
That could
called.
be anybody.
But anyway, you're called Benny now.
All right.
I liked it when I just called you Bence.
Yes.
I thought that was better, just, you know, squishing it all down.
Any other suggestions, feel free. You know, anyway, write in. See if we've got a good one. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm going to have to change my identity when the Iranians bomb us. So,
Right,
you know,
let's
start
change,
a new life.
Let's change Benedict's name. That'll
Yeah.
be the new game of today. When was the last time there was an air defence drill in London? Reckon there are container ships with drones and missiles. But do you remember they sort of were supposed to set up that nationwide alarm thing? Do you
What,
remember
in the
that?
phones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never got one.
Did you not?
I need it now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because you're near Fairfield. They were just like, no point.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well, you know, she's in the blast zone.
The rest of you have got a chance. You've got like 3 minutes to get somewhere, but you, nah.
I love this.
Oh dear.
On the matter of what should your name be, someone's just said, Dominic, you're hogging the conversation.
Yeah, that's, you can tell that person went to a Catholic school. Anyway, moving on.
And with regards to the Iran war and European countries opting out, do you think money and costs are involved here? Don't forget, we've put all our eggs and billions in the Ukraine basket. This is what I find so peculiar. This idea that people have banged on and on and on about, we've got to give everything to Ukraine, saying to America, Russia's so crazy, it's so dangerous, it wants to come and invade Europe. And I've always thought, well, look, I don't trust Putin, I don't like Putin, but I've always personally kind of doubted the ability of Russia to go into a NATO country and try and, you know, cause issues.
Yeah.
I don't think the might of NATO, if America gets involved, you know, it completely destroy Russia. So I've always been a bit sceptical about that. And yet, all of a sudden, when America says we need to take out Iran, we need to sort out the fact that they're getting ballistic missiles, that they're developing nuclear warheads, people in Europe are like, where's the evidence? I'm like, the evidence is people like, you know, ever since Ahmadinejad onwards have literally stood behind podiums saying we're making nuclear weapons to destroy the world.
It's
Where's the evidence?
People always turn around and they go, oh, Iraq, and it's just kind of like, no, this is slightly different. Like, Saddam was sat there going, like, oh, what's going on here? And these people are going, yes, this is what we're doing.
This is what
We'll even
we're
show
planning
you
to
the
do."
sites.
Yeah,
We'll even tell you what's going on.
Yeah, those weapons inspectors from the UN, you're not allowed in anymore.
Yeah, they're not denying it. They're just negotiating over how much of it they're allowed to enrich and then not obeying the rules. But even on the subject of Iraq, you know, people forget about this. We went into Iraq and there were no WMDs. But Colonel Gaddafi sat up in his chair when he saw us go in and went, well, I better hand over my WMDs, because he did have them and everybody else was like, hang on, what?
I heard from somebody who was very connected to this. Actually, there were. He said you should have seen the things that got blown up in the middle of the desert.
Oh, all sorts of stuff. And the number of people that were exposed to all sorts of chemicals and things like that after these explosions. But that is always the thing that amuses me, is that the entire Western world was sat there looking at Saddam, and Colonel Gaddafi knocks on the door of basically Berlusconi and says, listen, I've got a lot of stuff. I don't know where to put it. And the Europeans are just like, oh my word, it was just there the whole time.
Don't.
All these programs to develop, nerve gases and stuff.
Oh, it's terrifying.
Oh, wow.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast. I was going to sleep last night, and it was talking about all of these IRGC and Al-Qaeda sites where they're developing chemical weapons in America. I was like, this is not what I need to listen to.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on, because we're obviously going to keep circling back to this topic. But there's another one that has popped up on my news radar.
Go on.
Let's have a little listen, first of all, to Lord Sewell. This is...
I really want to help, and I'm doing it already, and I'm working with the teachers in those areas white working class boys, particularly. You know, my vision is to help them. You know,
Well, they've been neglected.
that's
haven't
right,
they?
for years.
Yeah.
That's the problem we've got in England at the moment, this division. You're making this division. You just work for children that have the need. And you look at the numbers, and those children have the need.
Yeah.
They have the need of school absenteeism. There's a family crisis for those children. Boys and girls, for example, in out of London areas, in the north, in Wales, all these other areas they need help. So all the experience and expertise that I've garnered over the years, to be honest, for the rest of my life now, I'm going to devote to those children.
Oh, watch them go into meltdown. Not only do you have a black man here saying, actually, we've been neglecting white working class boys. This is coming up on research published by the Centre for Social Justice, which actually shows nothing has really changed, where white British boys on free school meals are more likely to fail GCSE English and maths, most likely to be excluded from school, and least likely to stay on in education after 16. And it's the 5th anniversary of that report, and Lord Sewell is basically saying, look, this is the problem. We're neglecting them because all our focus is on this sort of faux prism that everything is, you know, racially based. It isn't.
No, and the thing is, intelligent people like Lord Sewell will understand if you continue to sort of erode and denigrate the majority who are underperforming and under-entitled and don't have the opportunities, that's what leads to political extremism. And yeah, that, I think, it's always been the thing that sort of amused me the most about this country, is that, you know, The Guardian every couple of weeks shrieks about the far right being on the march in Europe, and then advocates for policies that will mean that eventually there'll be a huge political backlash. And that's always the pattern in this country, which is to say that awful things are going to happen, racism, all this dreadfulness is going to come out of nowhere, and then let's just poke the bear a little bit. Let's just see how much more we can get away with. Eventually it will happen. You know, the Guardian is not wrong in that actually eventually, yes, in Europe, in a major country, there will be something by which we all call a far-right government will come to power, and it'll turn around and it'll say, right, all of that, we're rowing that back, we're stopping that, we're getting rid of that. Yeah, and they will have no one to blame but themselves for this sort of thing, because actually what people want, most people, the overwhelming majority of people, are reasonable and they are rational. They have, you know, occasionally very wild ideas about certain things, but most of them want the same things, which is that they want a degree of safety and security for themselves, they want a degree of prosperity, and they want slightly more prosperity, safety and security for their children. That's all. They want good things for themselves, and they want to hope that the next generation will do a little bit better. What you have in this country is intergenerational poverty from amongst communities that are predominantly white, who are then told by the multicultural metropole down in London that you are the problem, that you are bad somehow. What do people think happens if you keep on pushing and pushing and pushing those people?
All of the policies that have happened, you know, the people on the sharp end of this are the white working classes. You know, I've said this before. It is their jobs that are being undermined, whether they're painter decorators, builders, work on production lines, delivery drivers, taxi drivers. It's their jobs.
The destruction of industry in this country has completely eroded.
So they've got no jobs to go to when it comes to industry and working class jobs, and where they do, their wages have been massively compressed. Add to that, the other route to productivity and belonging was the military. Well, that's been completely decimated. Add to that, their pubs are being shut down. Add to that is their streets and their communities that have changed beyond recognition. Add to that the fact that the things that gave them a little bit of respite and reprieve, comedy, you know, bawdiness, politically incorrect jokes, that's been completely destroyed. And add to that, everyone then points to them and says, you are the problem.
Well, there's one other thing, which is, and I know people, you know, we have to keep going back to it, the grooming gang scandal has meant that a generation of working class children have been, not the whole generation obviously, but many, many more people than ever were, you know, admitted in Westminster, have been targeted for violent abuse. And their parents were too scared to go after anything, to try and seek justice, because they were being called racist and often were persecuted by the authorities when they tried.
The point is this. You know, when Martin Luther King stood up and said, I have a dream, it wasn't that everyone should be treated according to the colour of their skin. It was the opposite. Right, we've got to go to break on that note. But listen, if you want to join the conversation, the number is 03 444 991 1000. Oh, gladiators. You're distracting me now, Luke. It's your normal network rate. You can phone up at any time, register your interest to be put through, and Benedict and I will be waiting to have a chit-chat with you. You can also use that number to leave me a WhatsApp message, or indeed leave me a voice note on WhatsApp. I do love a voice note. 87222 is the number if you'd like to send a text message. Write the word talk before you text. And do you know what, Luke, you've reminded me, I missed Gladiators last night because I was down Thurrock Yacht Club. And I'm going to watch it tonight. I'm going to drag Samara in to do it with me as well. I've got her well into it. Right, OK, taking a short break. Don't go anywhere. We're back just after this.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello. Look, someone said, how about Benedict Small yet Powerful Spence for a new name?
I don't know what to make of that. Should I be offended? Should I be like, what?
Small yet powerful.
Is it a reference to something?
You're not that small either.
No,
You're so
wait a minute. No, I'm more offended by that. Wait, what do you mean? What's going on?
I think you're quite average, really.
Oh, impressive.
No, in terms of stature and height.
Well, this was fun.
Oh my God, this conversation, if someone clip this up, I'm going to start people accusing me of
I know,
getting up to improper behaviours with my guests.
It's true, I'm impressively average. You know, if you were to look at me, you'd go, wow, that is the everyman right there. That's him. That's the guy.
Right.
Put him on the £10 note. Go on.
Oh, actually, talking about that, we've got...
We're talking about that as well.
No, a story coming up in Weird Hour where they're planning to... I'm getting distracted, but we're planning to name new towns after people.
Oh, yes, I've seen that. God, they are bad.
Yeah, anyway, we can't do it. We've got two things to get through in 10 minutes.
No, but I'm not on Weird Hour. That's somebody else doing that.
That's Paul Cox. Just stick around and weird up with us.
No, I just want to do that one story. Like, when are you doing that story? Like halfway through or something?
I'm going to do it right at the end.
Oh,
right, come on, we've got to do this. Right,
what are these stories? Nobody cares about these stories. It's Iran that everybody cares about. It's the bombs.
British private schools, which are getting millions of pounds in places like Qatar.
Real man of the people's story, this. British private schools.
Everyone went out to the Gulf as sort of influence and tax exiles and sent their kids to schools including
Harrow Gulf.
So actually, no, hold on. This is even crazier than I thought. So schools including the Sherborne School, King's College Taunton and Royal Grammar School Guildford promise the best of British education at their Qatari franchises. So it's a posh English school, so set up the schools over there.
Did you not know that?
But they have to teach. They have to teach under Gulf law, Arabic, Islamic studies, and Qatari history. That's not particularly looking very balanced, is it?
Oh, wow.
The book, this is a particular history book, which says Adolf Hitler's Mein Kampf, vaguely referred to as racist ideas, and said Hitler's aims could be summarised as follows: to establish a national army, unite the Germans and reclaim German colonies. Sort of doesn't really talk much about the other stuff,
It's not
does it?
untrue, is what I'd say. It's not technically untrue, but it does rather gloss over.
It's a take.
I was going to say, was there like a character limit or something that they could get?
Right.
Retake German colonies, unite the German people, and build a strong army. And you're kind of going, and what else?
What else?
No, that's those were the main aims, and then it just got out of hand. Well, it's a take.
But, you know, of course, why is anyone surprised that if you go and, have your kids educated in an Arabic, Islamic country, that, the curriculum is likely to reflect some of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that is actually worth talking about is that there's a general lack of awareness about European history, about that part of European history outside of Europe and the United States. I think often we do get kind of quite focused on the particular unique horror.
What were they up to in World War II?
What, in the Middle East? Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of Germans and Brits and Italians running around for a start all across the Middle East. This is, I don't want to get too deeply into this because apparently this is where the trouble all starts. Not the ancient blood feud that goes back thousands of years. Apparently it's our fault, because of what we did with the British Mandate
colonising
and
things,
all of that sort of thing. Apparently it's our fault.
Resources.
But no, it's there was a lot of that going on. Not quite to the same extent, but there was a lot of that sort of going on. I think the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem met Hitler. Isn't that one of the very famous things that?
Oh, really?
It was. Listen, everybody was getting involved in the Middle East, always have.
I know
it was a little bit awkward.
Yeah, my grandfather delivered he was a logistics for the RAF, and he was sort of based in North Africa and
chasing
the Middle
Rommel.
East.
Yeah, the rat lines and all that kind of thing. Yeah,
but then I sort of think, what were you doing, Qatar? What role did you play?
Well, they weren't doing very much at all because, to be fair, there was no reason for us to pay any attention because they hadn't struck oil yet.
There wasn't really anyone there.
It was one of those things where,
nomads.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Romania was a big part of the Second World War. Why? Because it had oil, and you kind of sat there going, "Wait, Romania?"
Did it?
Yeah. Romania was of significant importance to both the USSR and the Nazis because it had oil, and there was a pro-Nazi regime in Romania, and you kind of just sat there thinking, if only these people had known, if only they had known what was just there in the Middle East, in Arabia.
Yeah.
How very different things could have been. It was only years later that I think American companies went looking for oil. Aramco struck it, and then didn't think change. But in the grand scheme of things, what happened in Europe is not that big a deal. I mean, when you look at actually, wasn't meant to sound too flippant, but when you look at how many people died, for instance, in China, and you kind of think, the numbers of people killed in Europe were not good. But there were significant theatres of war where all sorts of other things were happening. And you've got to remember, that's sort of equidistant between there and the Middle East.
My bestie, Belinda DeLucy, her grandmother, astonishing woman, she's writing her memoirs up at the moment, but she was based in China and sort of provided protection for the Chinese women because when the Japanese were invading and attacking China, some of the things they did to women were pretty appalling.
The atrocities committed by the Japanese go under the radar.
I know no one holds a grudge against Japan. I was like, aren't they great?
Well,
nobody
holds a grudge because the US dropped 2 bombs on them, and everybody goes, well, this was a war crime. They shouldn't have done it. And you kind of look then at the reels of casualties and people that were killed by the Japanese. You think, I don't know, man. I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe these people deserved a bombing.
Right, you might want to keep your answers succinct now because Chris has just walked in with the new planned new town. So we will do that, but we've got to talk about this first.
What is it?
Jeremy Corbyn and Kneecap have gone to Cuba in an aid convoy. What is that?
Hey,
apparently there's blackouts in Cuba because they're running out of whatever, oil or something like that. And, I mean, what on earth is this all about? What is it? So we know that there's a blockade against Cuba because Cuba are just a rogue state, and Trump has basically said, look, we snatched Maduro out of Venezuela. You've got to do a deal with us before it's too late. He even suggested the US could launch a friendly takeover.
Friendly takeover. Yeah, a little takeover between friends.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, Jeremy Corbyn never wanted to turn down an invitation to hang out with communists and terrorists. And Kneecap, that grim Irish band who seem to have adopted the worst of the worst extreme leftist policies, they're doing a Greta Thunberg. They've gone over to Cuba. What?
It's an old man.
Thanks. We've got someone who can do really terrible music on stage, and Jeremy Corbyn can stand there and everyone go like Magic Grandpa and Jezza. Let's just turn Glastonbury. There's no Glastonbury to Cuba already.
Well, I was saying, we were talking about Benidorm earlier. This would be a great sitcom. This would be a great TV sitcom. Jeremy Corbyn and Kneecap in a rundown house somewhere in Havana. like having to navigate the communist system. Genuinely, I think that this could be the thing that reawakens British comedy.
Right.
You were talking earlier about how much it's been sort of eroded over time. Stick those three and have, you don't even need a script writer. Just let them get on with it.
There you go. Chris has just said we should take the show to Cuba. Did you say we've got a clip of Jezza and, we don't, kneecapping Cuba, missing out on that. But yeah, there you go. That will be our first official OB from a beach in Cuba. Now, I'm going to let you talk about this story. We've got to go to break really quickly. But I'll let you talk about it if you can say the name of the kneecap rapper.
Which one? There's three of them.
There's one there.
Mo Cara or
no? That's his stage name because his actual name
hang on,
is.
I don't know. I've not been given the copy.
Mind. No one can say that.
It's Liam. Is it Liam?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, that one.
O'Hanlon. Is that it? Is that his name?
I don't know what that's supposed to say.
Pass it to me. I'll butcher it myself. Let's have a look.
It's about halfway,
let's have a look.
2/3 down.
Liam O'Hanna. Liam O'Hanna. I'm just going to say it's Liam O'Hanna because it's never pronounced how it's spelled.
Oh, exactly. That was the trick. Now, we can squeeze in,
I
literally...
apologise to anybody who's Irish, but I can't. Yeah, I'm doing my best.
Eating out of your time for this.
How much time have I got?
Well, about 2 seconds.
2 seconds
so ministers are going to announce a list of locations for new towns next week.
New towns, yeah.
Because they've got to build a load of houses. It's a bit like when they invented Milton Keynes. They're going to invent some new things. And the conversation is, what are we going to call these places? There's going to be potentially 12 of them. And the Times has got eyes on 5 names proposed by officials. Elizabethtown, named after the late Queen. Nice, we like to know it. But the rest of these are a bit like, oh, come on.
Elizabethtown sounds like the capital of a very small island colony somewhere.
It's like Caribbean islands.
Yeah, that's what it is. Elizabethtown. We should not call a town Elizabethtown. That's a silly name. Why? Attleton, after Clement Attlee. I'm sorry, what is that?
No one cares about Clement Attlee.
Least of all Clement Attlee. The citizens of Attleton will not thank them for that. But also they're going to call one Pankhurst. After Emmeline Pankhurst, a terrorist? That's
come on now.
Yes, I'm sorry, they were.
My favourite.
Seacole, after Mary Seacole, somebody nobody had heard of until about 20 years ago.
A Jamaican British nurse, so yeah, she's
not
one of those.
Yeah, not even that big a deal.
People have been elevated because it fits the narrative.
Properly sort of crowbarred in. And what's the last one?
Ethelstan.
I
love Ethelstan.
Well, the problem is, of course, whoever came up with that will have done so because it's got Stan at the end of it, not the Ethel bit, because it's an ancient king of England. That's who it's named after. But I think it's a really tacky. That's just been thrown in there. It's like, go on, give them something old in English.
What would you call it?
I'd go to the parish register, I'd look at the Doomsday Book, I'd look at all the things that were listed there, and I'd call it whatever that is, because there's going to be a field or a hedge or something, it's going to have a name.
It's going to have a historic name.
Because that's what we do. We don't create new things, although we did Milton Keynes, Stevenage, Telford, places like that. But still, once upon a time, all of these places had old names. They don't have to be ancient, they had old names. Just give them that name. They've already got names.
But I think we should just go back to Roman names.
That would be a good start.
Cirencester is now called Corinium.
Is it?
London's Londinium. That'd be great.
What's that? That's the television channel from Rivals.
Aquis Sulis, the old name for Bath. Let's just go back to Roman names.
We should do.
They were good.
Things were better back then.
Latin's a fancy
language. What have the Romans ever done for us? They gave us good names, and then they left.
And underfloor central heating.
They did.
Right, on that note, we're going to take a short break because coming up after the break, we are having a conversation with James Cleverly, who's the Shadow Housing Secretary, a former military man himself as well, former Foreign Secretary too. So looking forward to discussing with him everything in the papers today and what is going on in the Middle East. That is coming up straight after this.
across the UK. On DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello, welcome back. After all of that nagging and chivying, we're now waiting for Mr. Cleverly. He hasn't logged in yet, but he will be here shortly.
Oh, don't eat into your time, Ben. You're using it all up. No, I create the time. I decide.
The race against the clock was all for nothing. Oh, look at this. Good morning, my lovers. Thank you, Benedict, for my regular Sunday morning wit.
You're very welcome.
And then
is it a regular Sunday morning? I don't. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe I forget. Huh?
Do you want it to be?
It can be. Why not?
Okay.
Am I here next week? There we go. All right. There we go.
Right.
All right. I'll be here next week.
And for you, my beautiful, gorgeous Alex, a ray of sunshine that comes into my front room.
Oh, beautiful, gorgeous Alex.
I know. Yeah, sucking up, isn't he? I love this one. Alex, a great name for Benedict is BS.
You think I haven't made that joke a million times before, buddy? Come at me. Come on with something better.
Alex and Benedict, do my ears deceive me? A motley crew has gone to Cuba to highlight conditions there. Well, Cuba has at least just stopped oil. Are these wombles never happy? That's a good one. I do appreciate that. That was very witty. And here we go. Here's a talking point based on absolutely nothing, but a text from Ian, which is we've just heard from the great Tom Bauer. That was in Mark's show. If you were going to write a biography of any person, past or present, who would you choose? Boudica.
That's really put me on the spot. Okay, explain to me why Boudica, and I'll try and think of something.
Queen of the IC and Ice, but it's great. Anyway, you don't get to answer because James Cleverly is now here.
Okay, James Cleverly. That's who I'd write a biography.
There you go. Write a biography of James Cleverly.
You better say something funny.
Here we go. Right. Anyway, on that note, what music we got now? I don't know what's going on with the buttons.
Tune.
Oh, right, OK. Anyway, without further ado, let's welcome aboard HMS Chaos, it seems, this morning, Mr James Cleverly, MP, Shadow Housing Secretary and, of course, former Foreign Secretary under Liz Truss. James, thank you so much for giving up part of your Sunday to join us today. Let's hit the ground running with what is really dominating the headlines today, which is the idea that European cities could be within range of Iranian ballistic strikes. And it turns out that the UK essentially has no defences to intercept this. I mean, when you were Foreign Secretary, what was your thought on Iran? Is Donald Trump doing the right thing by attacking Iran, or is this essentially stirring up a hornet's nest that we're going to find very difficult to protect ourselves from?
Alex, the first thing we need to understand is Iran has had an aggressive posture and has been aggressive towards the UK for quite some time. We've seen attempts on the lives of British politicians instigated by Iran. We have seen state-sponsored terrorism directed towards British nationals, British interests, and to our friends and allies both in the region and beyond. So none of us should be surprised that Iran is acting aggressively towards the UK. We also know that Iran, despite diplomatic attempts to stop them doing so, were pursuing enrichment of uranium and a delivery system for nuclear weapons. All these things are known, so therefore we should not be surprised now to hear that Iran has still got the UK in its sights.
Is the approach of this government the correct approach, which is, although at the beginning reluctantly, restricting our involvement to defensive strikes and enabling America to use its UK shared air bases to carry out the other strikes? Or should we have from the beginning said to President Trump, we're with you shoulder to shoulder, side by side in all of this?
Well, the problem that Keir Starmer has got is that he's dithered, he's been slow, he's been on the back foot. So when it was clear that the United States of America was pre-deploying naval assets, Keir Starmer chose not to do so. When it was clear that the situation was escalating, Keir Starmer failed to put forward defences to support British nationals, British troops, and our friends and allies who are hosting British bases, whether it be in Bahrain or whether it be in Cyprus. He initially refused to allow the Americans to use their own aircraft from our air bases. And this has damaged not only our relationship with the US, but with countries in the Middle East, and our friends and our allies. It's also damaged our ability to protect our own people. Keir Starmer's been on the back foot throughout this. He's tried to claim that he's acting thoughtfully and cautiously. He's acting ineptly, and that is damaging our standing on the world stage.
But if you were back in the position as Foreign Secretary, would your approach have been not just from the beginning saying, yes, we're happy to cooperate and let you use our air bases, but would you have joined what some people might regard as a more aggressive prosecution of this war?
Well, that's a moot point, because the situation is that when I was in government, when we were in government, we were trying to apply increased diplomatic pressure to prevent Iran developing a nuclear weapon. And it is clear that they have continued to pursue this nuclear weapons aspiration. So the decisions made by this government have been wrong. Kemi Badenoch at the time said that we should have allowed the United States, one of our closest allies in the world, if not our closest ally in the world, to use its own aircraft from shared British bases. Starmer refused to do that. He's been dragged kicking and screaming towards the right choices rather than getting there under his own steam, and that has damaged our standing on the world stage.
But is part of this done out, over cautionary, because it turns out our naval fleet just is decimated? We didn't really have anything in a situation of preparedness to be deployed. Perhaps we've got sleeper cells in this country. Perhaps there was an inkling thinking, well, if we get involved, we could ourselves be attacked.
We were always, we have been the target of Iranian aggression for some time. The idea that we would not be involved in this, that we wouldn't be targeted, that our bases wouldn't be targeted, our people wouldn't be targeted, is a nonsense. Iran has kidnapped British nationals. Iran has funded terrorists who have attempted to murder British nationals and attack British military establishments. The idea that somehow, if the UK was passive, Iran would be nice to us is a level of diplomatic naivety beyond belief, and we are now living with the consequences of Keir Starmer's timidity and inaction.
And what about the idea now that the UK has no defences to stop Iranian missiles, where potentially their range could mean that, well, our sites could be struck? What do we do in a situation where it seems our hands are tied, where we're going to have to beg and plead America to defend us if it came to that? If you were Foreign Secretary right now, what moves would you be making?
Well, first of all, alienating some of our closest allies in the world is a really, really bad idea. But we've been outpaced not just by the US, not just by countries in the Middle East, but by our European friends and allies. We need to demonstrate that we take our own defence and our collective defence seriously. Also, Starmer should have pre-deployed military assets. My understanding, and of course I don't have access to the paperwork, but my understanding is that Ed Miliband bullied him into not taking the right action initially. I mean, this is weakness. And adversaries around the world smell weakness a million miles away. And they smell weakness in this Prime Minister, and that makes things more dangerous for the UK.
Talking about weakness, how vulnerable are we now? Because if I was from the outside looking in, I'd think to myself, well, look, the UK can't defend itself. It can't seem to deploy a naval fleet. It's barely got half the armed forces it used to have. Cyprus might be kicking them off their island in terms of having an airbase to the east of the European continent. I think that we were ripe for the taking. How vulnerable do you think we are? How critical is our situation?
Well, there are decisions that the government could and should make in the here and now which would bolster our standing internationally. The Conservative Party has long said that we need a significant increase in our defence spending. That would send a message to the defence industries, to our allies, and also to our adversaries that we take ourselves seriously. But what has the government done? It has decided to spend an extra £2.3 billion on the welfare bill just at a time when it should be spending it on defence. The Conservatives would do the opposite. We would reintroduce the two child benefits cap and spend that £2.3 billion on defence. We would also make sure that we reduce the energy costs to those industries that we rely on for our self-defence. We need to do that through our cheap energy plan, opening those new fields, Rosebank and Jackdaw, those oil and gas fields in the North Sea. So rather than just being a price taker, we can actually mitigate some of those price increases by increasing our own energy production. These are decisions that the Labour Party could and should make, but they're sitting on their hands, and Britons will suffer the consequences.
James Cleverly, thank you ever so much for giving up part of your Sunday and joining us. Time to say goodbye to you, Benedict. That noise at the beginning, I thought it was Luke pressing buttons, putting sort of sirens on, but it's actually where James Cleverly was standing. Sounded like he was in the middle of a war zone then, which quite frankly London is. Margaret has said, good news that the lovely Benedicts will be keeping you company on Sundays. There you go, it's locked in. We've said it on air. Thank you ever so much, Benedict. And I'll see you therefore next week. After the break, however, is Weird Al with Paul Cox. He's there, ready to come in. See you in a second.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Oh, I love it. I never know what's going to come out with the music in this place. I love it. This is Weird Al, ladies and gentlemen. It still lives, and it will live on forever.
Because, I hope so.
Let's face it, Paul Cox, we're never going to give it up.
No, we won't give it up, yeah.
This is a remix.
Even if neither of us work here, we'll just be out in the car park.
Exactly.
Just doing it.
Just in the pub, holding court.
That'd be great. I heard you talking to Benedict about doing it in Lanzarote.
Don't you think? Are you coming for Weird Al and
I was
Lanzarote?
like, I'm coming even if I'm not asked.
We've got, so far, basically, if we're going to island hop, we've got Lanzarote and Cuba so far on the list.
Oh, wow. Do you see all the lefties that have gone to Cuba this week?
I love that. I mean, that is perfect for Weird Hour.
Communism tour.
And someone said to me, I love the fact that, everyone's, like, Jeremy Corbyn, is moaning about what's happening to Cuba when there's a blockade against oil. He loves just stop oil. What's wrong with you, son?
He's mad. Owen Jones has gone out there, Bergdon and obviously Corbyn. Capitalism will start within 2 weeks. I guarantee you there will be an Amazon out there. All the kids will be wearing Nike. Because they'll be like, oh my God, is this what it looks like?
I know, this rabble. Oh, it's just, honestly. The whole left wing, this sort of Greta Thunberg thing they all have to do where they get on a boat and go somewhere. So you are not going to change anything.
No.
Like,
no. And they're taking aid. It's like...
How much aid can they take?
I don't know.
And what, a marrow from his allotment.
Like,
Here you go.
Some Hessian sandals.
Exactly. Readiness for Thanksgiving, here's a... It's just... I'm fed up. And also, how do you think they got there? I bet they flew.
They did not. They did not sail, I know that much.
They did not. They did not go in a dinghy, I'm pretty sure about that. So they're just out there for a jolly, aren't they? It's a vanity project.
I mean, it's all one big virtue signal, isn't it? It's weird is what it is.
It's very weird. So, talking about weird, because I've been doing my homework. This is... So basically, Sarah Ferguson apparently was holding talks with some sort of TV production company to make a show, and I don't know who thought this up about
Cheated.
cloning the Queen's corgis to then sell around the world to make money. I mean, Sarah Ferguson is always a fan of trying to get some cash money, isn't she? At any cost. She loves it.
There's always a hint of desperation, isn't there? I mean, this is just the sort of stuff that when they've had one too many sherries after dinner on some island somewhere.
Well, what would this show involve? Like Sarah Ferguson in a lab coat, sort of artificially inseminating things? Like, what is it?
With a baster. I really don't know. But, I mean, I believe that it's that the royal family spokesperson has kind of sort of said this is very unlikely to happen.
Oh my gosh! Read the spiel on this. So the TV producers, a LA-based company called Halcyon Studios,
of course they are,
talks about a bold and controversial business venture that would navigate, and wait for this, I never thought this sentence could exist, the complex world of genetics and royal protocol.
Two things that never go together.
Oh, I love it. Well, actually, saying that, the complex world of genetics and royal protocol actually fits in with my new nickname for Tech Hop Luke out there. I don't know why. We were drinking yesterday, and for some reason I called him the Child Prince, and now his new nickname is Perkin Warbeck. So there you go. That is genetics and royal protocol. Because Perkin Warbeck said, "Oh, I'm that prince in the tower. Richard III didn't butt me off. I'm here. I want the throne."
Do you remember Little Lord Fauntleroy?
Yeah. I think actually, in my strange mind, it was a picture cartoon of Little Lord Fauntleroy that made me think Child Prince about Luke the Tech Hop, because there's a sort of glancing similarity.
Yeah, there is a little bit. It's not it's it's something to be proud of, I think.
I think so. I think, if I was getting the nickname Perkin Warbeck, I think that's a cool nickname.
Exactly. No one's ever called me anything like that. It's not sort of Toady or...
My nickname for Chris, however, is Rat Boy.
Chris, the producer.
Yeah.
Who I think's amazing because he books me.
I love him, but he's now just called Ratty, so that's, change approved. That is the new official title. Oh, do you know, I hate it when we're having fun and I've got to do some breaking news that's really quite...
Oh, my goodness, please tell
Really quite grim. OK, ready? Handbrake turn. Iran has threatened to destroy energy sites across the Middle East if Trump sticks to 48-hour Hormuz ultimatum. The parliamentary speaker, Mohammed Bagir Ghalibaf, love it when a name pops up on there that I haven't practised, has said immediately after the power plants and infrastructure in our country are targeted, the critical infrastructure, energy infrastructure and oil facilities throughout the region will be considered legitimate targets and will be destroyed in an irreversible manner, and the price of oil will remain high for a very long time. So that is the jeopardy of the Middle East, because Trump, of course, has said to Iran, if you don't allow ships through the Strait of Hormuz, we're going to smash to pieces your energy infrastructure. And Iran said, all right, you try that and we'll smash up everyone else's energy infrastructure. So there you go. High stakes.
Yes.
How do we get back to weird after that?
You don't... Well, I don't know. You just sort of... You just have to slide back, don't you?
Do you know what we're going to have to start doing? We're going to have to bring back whaling vessels, aren't we? You know, we're going to have to get in the high seas chasing sperm whales to like grab the oil out the backs of their heads to get our lanterns going again. At least, actually, when you look at the lampposts around London, I reckon they could still be used as oil lamps.
Yes, they could be. The thing is, oil's in absolutely everything, isn't it? And they've got us over a barrel, so to speak. But you'd think that we'd be able to put enough ships across Europeans and the Americans, enough ships in that Strait of Hormuz to be able to protect the oil tankers going through there. But for whatever reason, everybody's going, no, we're not going to get involved, we're not going to do this whatsoever. And I think it's just an epidemic of this new sort of liberal, we don't get involved in everything and the Muslims are great.
Yeah, be nice. So it's this sort of strange mental illness the left wing have, where they think the people who are trying to do good in the world are evil, and the evil people can all be trusted and are nice underneath it all. But but like sperm whales and their oil. Why aren't we looking at them anymore?
We've moved on.
Yeah, we're not allowed to do that.
Like Greta Thunberg, we've moved on.
Yeah, we've moved on from that. But you know, doesn't the king have a car charged with biofuel made from old wine? We could solve two problems at once. We could say, like, you know, Britain, you're becoming alcoholic. You're basically heading headfirst towards, you know, a dry country when various parts of the country get taken over by certain communities anyway. I mean, even Formula One runs off biofuel now. I think we should just, you know, you've got those free cyclists who sniff around bins and stuff outside of restaurants and supermarkets. That's what we need to start doing.
They're called
mashing
homeless
it all
people,
up in.
by the way, Alex.
And leftists.
Yeah. Well, I cannot differentiate, so yeah.
It's food waste. I think that's what we need to be looking at.
Yeah, there's so much food waste. Look, I don't know how we ever overcome this. We've got to a point now where suicidal empathy is like a sport. So it's going to take something absolutely catastrophic before sort of some people wake up and go, oh, this doesn't seem like such a good idea.
The most mad thing I've heard so far, and I feel like it hasn't got enough airtime, is the fact that Zach Polanski and the Green Party, I think, are going to do very well in the local elections.
Yeah,
and when
sure.
they actually start controlling local authorities, that gives them a lot of leverage to make mad decisions like boycotting anything connected to Israel, etc. But the fact that he said, well, if I'm in power, we're no longer going to detain terrorists. Why?
So the man is absolutely mentally ill. You can't reach this point of cognitive dissonance without some sort of health issues. I mean, he was the boob whisperer. From a terrorist who's just been allowed into the country or not gone to prison and been given a job in Asda because that's the best way for them. I think we've collectively lost our marbles, because normally you wouldn't be this stuff wouldn't allow to be happening, because you'd put them in asylums. We don't have asylums anymore. You normally gather these people up, sort of ruffle the hair a bit and say, yes, that's right, yes, the clouds are speaking to you, Zach. and then you just put them in a room and you leave them there, and then they're not allowed to become Prime Minister. Now it's actively encouraged.
It's kooky and fun. And progressive, in fact.
What's incredibly concerning to me is it's not that Zach exists, it's that there's a media class of people, an intellectual media class of people, who agree with him.
It's just insane.
That's weird.
That is very weird, and I don't quite know what we do about it. Bring back asylums, there you go. Let's talk about... Well, we had the music because we started Weird Al, didn't we? Oh, well, we don't need to press any buttons. You can just do it if you like. There you go. Saves us a problem too.
I was half expecting to come. It didn't. I just was on my own.
When we need
a cappella.
When we need to save a bit of energy, we'll just have Paul Cox singing all of our theme music instead, running around in a hamster wheel to keep the lights on in Talk Towers. Here we go. A retired Air Force general who's known in UFO circles has gone missing during a hike in New Mexico. Of course, that's where all the business happens, New Mexico, isn't it? Just months after a former colleague disappeared in a nearly identical case. This is US Major General William Neal McCaslin, 68, was last seen on the morning of February 27th as he left his Albuquerque home with only a backpack, wallet, and, as all people in New Mexico need, a .38 caliber revolver for a trail run.
Yeah.
You might need to shoot some stuff as you exercise. So apparently he was a gatekeeper and participant in the UFO community, and his disappearance has fueled speculation around the disappearance of 60-year-old Monica Razor, who had worked on a rocket project overseen by McCasland, who also went missing. She was also last seen hiking in a California forest with a colleague. So everyone's there basically saying they must know. And, you know, there was this hint, wasn't it, when Obama said, yeah, aliens exist, and then the journalist didn't ask any more questions. Why?
Which is weird, isn't
and then Trump has sort of said, yeah, he spoke out of turn. Shouldn't have said that. It's national security. And now all these people who might know a thing or two are disappearing.
They've gone for a walk and disappeared.
On their armed hikes.
Well, one thing that's definitely not true here is there's no coincidence. I mean, this just didn't happen this way. I mean, let's eradicate that as a possibility. There's quite obviously something incredibly sinister and dangerous going on here. So there's nothing normal about this whatsoever. They've gone for a walk. They've taken their gun and they've disappeared. I mean, although,
but both on separate occasions.
yeah, they haven't gone together. Aliens don't take people like that. You know.
How do you know aliens don't take people like that?
Alex, I can't tell you how I know. Otherwise, you'll go for a walk on Tuesday and you won't come back.
That's your Porton Down years, isn't it? Coming out.
Yeah.
You're like, no, categorically, aliens are not interested in 60-year-old hikers with guns who might know what aliens are up to. That's not what they're after. What are they after?
I want to know how these aliens work, because they seem to work in a peculiar way, don't they?
Well, is it the aliens who have taken them? Or, you know, when you get into the sort of UAP stuff, I love that stuff. The theory is that you've got the big defence companies who have been using equipment, reverse engineering. You know, there's even conspiracy theories that there's like an alien convention that they talk to, I don't know. And that when people find out about this stuff, it's like, no, this has to be top secret because of something. Yeah. And so we're going to kill you. You have to be disappeared because you know too much. I mean...
we should say that later in the story it did say that McCausland had been suffering from brain fog recently. So I don't know if he's going through the menopause or not.
I think Will Smith has jumped out of the bushes with that magic biro to zap his head.
And just slapped him and said, don't talk about my wife.
But I love this stuff. And, you know, it's still treated with ridicule. I mean, it's supposed to be funny and weird. It's still treated with ridicule in this country. Other countries like Mexico happily talk about the idea of extraterrestrial life, where here we're like, oh, well, you've gone nuts, haven't you?
No, look, it's been a very interesting case, and of course, one thing I should say, even though I'm employed to be silly about this, is that there are two people with families that have gone for a walk and never come back, which is in the case of the lady who went missing a few months previously. Just the person that she was walking with said she was just there 1 minute
and gone,
and then disappeared off the face of the earth the next.
That
would be quite a worry, wouldn't it?
Drones, helicopter, ground crews, K9 units.
I don't know. It always happens. It always happens in the States as well. I used to listen to a lot of true crime, and in their sort of parks and stuff, there's thousands of stories of missing people that just. I guess it's not like our parks. These are millions of acres.
Oh yeah, they're national parks. Yeah, you've got Yetis in there and everything. Apparently,
there's definitely Yetis in there. Of course, there are Bigfoot.
But it seems to me whenever you have these alien encounters, they seem to like a good forest, don't they?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? Because you think they'd have technology that wouldn't require them to do it under the cover of the woods.
It's always convenient, isn't it? Where's the alien? Well, it's in the forest at midnight.
Yeah, it always comes out at night. Like the ghosts as well. The ghosts always come out at night, because I guess you can't see the ghosts during the day.
Do they glow in the dark?
Look, I can't say. You know I can't say, Alex. You know I know all the answers, but I can't say it all. We're going to drip feed this out over the course of Weird Hour over the next couple of months. But I would say that this is suspicious on the basis that they both went missing in similar circumstances, with similar amounts of having worked on similar projects where aliens were involved.
Aliens were involved in the project. You're revealing too much, Paul. You know a lot more than I expected. Oh, flippin' heck, I'm going to have to watch myself after work.
This is definitely weird.
If I'm not here next week, if
you'll be here, you're protected.
And he's basically usurped the throne.
Just come in.
Conspired with the Little Queen Men to snatch me up. I've had a good time. Thank you for your company.
Without even mentioning that this is your show.
just appear here instead one day. Hello. Well, well, on that note, I am going to disappear. Let's see if I re-emerge on the other side of the commercials.
Donald Trump has a plan post-war.
A couple of weeks ago, when he started this off, he made a speech saying help would be on the way for the people. There was going to be regime change.
He appointed Mandelson against advice. We know this to be true. If this was a Conservative Prime Minister, the wider left would be absolutely screaming for his resignation.
Government's announced this afternoon, we're setting up a people's panel to work out exactly how you want us to roll out these digital IDs. We don't want them.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
Hello, welcome back. I am still here. I survived.
There you go.
Did you ever nick things when you were younger?
Yeah. I mean, I hesitate as if so. What impression do I want to give myself? Yeah, I did. Not like it wasn't frequent. It wasn't a habit, but I definitely pinched something out of the newspaper shop I worked in and got caught.
What?
Just a Mars bar.
That's it. That's your claim to fame.
Yeah, it's not cool, and it's, I'm not saying to the kids. I know some pretty cool kids are listening. So I'm not saying this is a good thing, but yeah, I don't know what it was. It's just
It's like a sort of rite of passage that everyone goes through, particularly when they're at university, where all of a sudden road signs seem like attractive home decor.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's a cone, we better have that. Apparently, a thief who's a former student has returned a sign they nicked 15 years ago when they were drunk, and actually written a really sort of I'm so sorry letter and given 100 quid because they took this big sign outside the Exotica food store. I mean, I can see the appeal of that. This was a Swansea shop, apparently. In the letter, the anonymous sender confessed 15 years ago he and another student took a temporary PVC banner hanging outside the shop after a night on the town. I mean, I can see the appeal of having Exotica food in a student halls of residence.
Yeah, that would be quite fun. The idea that it took him 15 years to have a moment of consciousness, because that seems a very long time. Normally that sort of guilt would creep in after a couple of weeks, maybe, wouldn't it? But he decided it was obviously repenting for something. It's got 15 years is a long time, Alex.
It is quite a long time.
I'm not sure where he got 100 quid from as the compensation.
Right, it was anonymous. Signed a former foolish student and with an envelope containing 5 £20 notes. Well, I want to know where. There's the letter, there's the cash. I want to know what happened to the actual sign, though. Why didn't he just return the sign?
That's a good point. Did not return the sign. I guess it was probably left in the halls of residence or...
Well, clearly, the business didn't suffer as a result, did it? Because 15 years later, there it is. Exotic foods from around the world is still thriving. It's going strong.
I thought that was the remarkable thing about this story, actually, the fact that after 15 years, the same business was still there. Because nothing lasts 15 years now, does it? Not even major brands.
Right. I'm surprised it's not a vape shop.
So it actually helped, if anything.
I think it did. And now it is a notorious Exotica food stores.
Who hasn't been?
I don't want to go. We've got the robots from Milton Keynes. When we do our road tour, we've got all these incredible sites to visit.
What do you think they sell at Exotica? Exotica Foods?
I think it's going to be kumquats.
Yeah.
What
a great word that is, by the way.
I know. It's the first word that... OK, what is the first exotic food that comes into your mind? Go.
Like a passion fruit.
Oh, I suppose that, yeah. Yeah.
Kumquat and passion fruit.
Yams.
Yams, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really think. I mean, I'm more of a sort of Sainsbury's guy.
Right.
I'm not really going to Exotica foods. No.
Do you know, I once went to do a news report down in Southampton when there was either by-election or election, I can't remember. And they had a shop in Southampton that sold exotic meats, and I went mad. Right, I went crazy for this. No, this is a true story. I went really crazy. So I went there, and in the freezer section, they had everything you could imagine: crocodile burgers, bison steaks, zebra fillets, python jerky. Like, no, seriously, I was like, this is amazing. I'm going to get all of this stuff. So I did. I got as much stuff as possible. I was a bit like, Dale Winton on uppers. Yeah, I was just going mad. And so I bought all these frozen goods of all this weird exotic meat and put it in my freezer. And I was still at a London flat then, when you've got a tiny kitchen, a tiny freezer. It was barely able to shut the door. About a year later, it's still all in there, because at no point did I think to myself, I really fancy a bit of zebra tonight. If anything, the longer it was in there, the more harrowing and disturbing it became. And I was like, I don't know.
What happened? Because I assume you haven't got the flat anymore.
What happened is I had a big barbecue one day, and we had weird meat barbecue.
And what was it good?
Zebra steak's a bit dry. Ostrich, pretty good. Bison, perfectly fine.
Yeah, bison sounds like it'd be fine.
Crocodile's quite interesting.
Crocodile, yeah.
There was a crocodile burger which gave me the ick a little bit. The consistency was odd. It's like a fish burger. Do you know what I mean?
Right, so it's kind of that
meaty
sort of
hybrid.
Fillety, fleshy.
Too moist.
Too moist.
Yeah, and too pale, too wan. And too moist for a burger. You're kind of a bit like, that's wonky. That's not correct. But actually, here's a confession. If ever I become a politician, this will come back to haunt me. When I was at university in Durham, I set up a society called SKID.
SKID?
There's only about two of us, me and my roommate.
What was the acronym stand for?
Society of Kleptomaniacs in Durham.
Right, okay.
And we had rules of SKID missions, which were... You weren't allowed to take from people, and you weren't allowed to take from small independent businesses. But otherwise, this was in the era of ashtrays, you know, back when you could smoke. But it was basically ashtrays and beer glasses.
And you would take from pubs.
Yeah, I think SKID lasted all of about one term, and then it got boring.
What happened to the loot?
The loot. I think the cleaner just sort of, you know, raised her eyebrows every time she came in.
That's something you don't see anymore, isn't it? An ashtray. You know, when you think of ashtrays, I do think of pubs, but I also think of my nan's house, which had all these kind of curved 70s-esque colourful ashtrays, because she used to smoke. She doesn't smoke now.
You don't really get ashtrays anymore, but you do seem to... It's always like one of the #1 gifts of choice of tacky gift shops in holiday locations.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's still there. Yeah, exactly. Especially the Canary Islands. Canary Islands ashtrays are pretty... ubiquitous. There's also this strange thing about places like the Canary Islands, which I love, by the way. Everyone knows I love the Canary Islands. But when you go down the front, you know, where the tastiness happens, where the action happens, they seem to have this obsession with selling things based upon the male phallus.
Yes.
Mugs, aprons.
I went to Mallorca last April, and everything in the gift shop was just like willy beer openers.
Exactly, it is a thing. But yeah, when I accidentally got marooned there during COVID, and a load of other people came to accidentally get marooned with me, and we had Christmas in Lanzarote, we did a sort of, you know, secret Santa. So we all sort of, you know, bought presents for everybody else. You can imagine unwrapping everything. It was just all the willy gifts. That was it.
Just endless willy.
Yeah. It's only 27 minutes past 11. I mean, maybe that would be a good name for a new town in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, or an autobiography. I don't know which.
But so the government, are having to build new towns. I think there's 12 proposed. So we've got to give them names.
Of course you do, and you've got to make sure that they are virtue-signalling names.
They've got to be woke names.
They must be.
It does raise an interesting conversation. Benedict's like, we need to just go... He's very sensible, Benedict. We need to go through Doomsday Book and see what that field was called in the first instance and just use that. I'm like, oh, right, if it's got a name, use it. That makes sense. But where's the fun? Where's the joy?
Yeah, there's lots of... Between where I live and where you live, there's all sorts of interesting village and town names, like Middle Wallop, Upper Wallop, Lower Wallop.
Wyrepiddle.
Yeah, all this stuff that's kind of, I don't know, Saxon-esque, that just invokes all very interesting images in your mind. I'm all for that. And do you know what? I don't really have any issue. They're talking about here Elizabethtown, Atleton. I'm not sure whether they'd go for Atley. I guess because it's a Labour government. Pankhurst, obviously, because she was a feminist.
Who are the most famous Brits alive today? Like what? Elizabethtown makes sense, but if we're going to we're going to call it HS Ticky Town.
I think you'd go to Attenborough would be.
It can only be done posthumously.
Yeah.
Be careful what you say. If something happens to him...
he is a great... Honestly, I know he spent his whole life on the BBC, and that's questionable, but he's scandal-free, and he's produced some absolutely fantastic television. So thank you, Attenborough. I think Attenborough would be up there. outside of
I mean,
that...
a sort of modern, gnarly housing estate doesn't sort of reflect...
No, you don't want to go...
the sort of world of David Attenborough, unless you chuck in a few monkeys.
If it is a housing estate, you can't call it. They're always named far too invitingly, though, aren't they? Housing estates are always called something like Eden's Orchard or something.
In the 70s, they went through a phase of, sort of keep coming up with a theme. Because where I was born and brought up is a 70s housing estate in Gloucester. And everything's named after birds.
Yes. One near me was named after Greek gods.
Oh,
Every
that's
road
good.
was Greek gods. Yeah.
That's really good.
I lived on one that was named after flowers. I lived in Coltsfoot Drive. Which was quite nice.
See, in this sort of... The problem with the 70s housing estate named after birds, some are kind of cool. Owl Close. Hawk Close.
Yeah.
Say that too quickly and the C's stick together. The k sounds, and it ends up sounding like Hawk Close, which isn't ideal.
But you wouldn't want to live on like Greta Lane or Thunberg Close or...
Well, but 2 roads up from Hawk Close is Thrush Close. It's not ideal, is it?
No.
If you're going, it's like, where do you live? Thrush Close, Chlamydia Avenue. It's just not really... It wasn't well thought through.
It's not ideal. But all these places are very interestingly named. The trouble is with with Labour doing it, if it was anybody else, you'd look at that and go, well, OK, that seems a reasonable idea. But you just know with Labour, it's this sort of disingenuous virtue signal. Look at us. We want to put a stamp on things. Because they know they're only in power once every generation. Because once you've had them, you don't want to go... That generation never wants to go back.
I'm surprised they're not coming up with Leninville.
Yes.
Markstown.
They would do. If they thought they could get away with it, absolutely.
Corbinium.
Yeah, Corbinium.
Corbinium, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Marx, good. I've always found it ironic, that huge great grave to Marx in...
Highgate.
Highgate.
Yeah.
Is in the most capitalistic area of London you can imagine.
Right.
All the properties are £3 million plus. Nobody seems to see the irony of it. It's only posh white people that get to go and see his grave.
And you have to pay to go and sniff around the graveyards.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's a really good a life hack.
Go on.
From someone who likes food. When you go to Highgate Cemetery, you've got the side with Lenin. I don't know if it's the North or the South Cemetery. You got that side, but when you buy your ticket to go in, you get to sort of go to both sides. Now, on the other side, when it gets to sort of May time, that is where all the wild garlic grows. Loads of wild garlic.
Smell it, can't you?
Yeah, so you're £5. You can go in, take a load of bags for life, take a load of wild garlic, because that stuff costs a lot down Kensington Farmers Market.
I'm always pulling it out of my garden, actually.
You get wild garlic in your actual garden?
I do, yeah.
You are blessed.
I am, thank you.
That is a wonderful thing to have. I've tried to plant it. It doesn't seem to take.
Oh, I've never planted it. It just comes.
Oh, you're very lucky.
I've been gifted, obviously, by the garlic gods.
I used to have to go around the cemetery, getting my wild garlic, and I always used to make sure the one bit of the cemetery I avoided was Litvinenko's grave. Because, Yeah.
What sort of garlic is that? Extra special large?
Yeah, when it starts, sort of pulsating bright yellow lights.
It's got some really interesting dead people in it.
It's got a good death rote. Yeah. I have no idea why we've got the American National Anthem, but I think whenever the music begins, it signals that we've got to take an advert break. So we'll see you just after this.
Across the UK, on on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
You're a Hampshire man, aren't you?
I am a Hampshire man.
Apparently there's a town just outside Andover called Palestine.
Right, I didn't know that.
I thought when Chris was saying it in my ear, I don't know why, but I thought he said there's a town in Hampshire called Boys Night. That's a really great one. But you know, the other day last year, gazillion years ago, I was in the New Forest because I love it.
Yes.
And there's a place called No Man's Land.
There is, yeah.
And I went there, and it's amazing. It's like the best place in the whole of England.
There's a couple of places like that. There's a place in Hampshire near me called World's End.
Oh, that's good.
And there's nothing there other than the end of the world.
The end of the world.
Obviously.
I love... Hampshire is one of those things. If people haven't gone to the New Forest, they wouldn't believe it if they went there. I mean, it's like a really well-kept secret that is some sort of strange Fantasyland Narnia hybrid.
Yeah, because it just is untouched. It is heathland, it is forest, there's wild
everywhere.
animals. Yeah.
It's basically the equivalent of going on safari in Britain, isn't it? But instead of seeing like lions and zebras, it's like donkeys and cows.
Yeah.
But they're everywhere.
There's ponies, largely. And in autumn, pigs.
Yeah, the panage.
Yeah, the pigs go roaming around.
Yeah. Do you know why they do that? Do you know, I'm disgusted at you for not knowing your local cuisine.
Don't they snuffle up something?
Right, well, yeah, that's what pigs do in general. They're known for snuffling. But no, so basically all the horses at the New Forest in autumn time, they'll pig out on all the acorns from the oak trees and it makes them very sick.
Oh, right.
And so the rangers move all the horses. I don't know where they go. But they go somewhere, go on holiday, go on vacay, go to Cuba or something like that for a while. And then all the farmers with the local pigs let them out to eat up all the acorns. So when the horses come back, they don't get poorly. And so it's basically the equivalent of Iberico ham. And it's called panage pork. It's a tradition called panage.
Yes, I was aware of that. Do you retain information really well? I retain sort of odd bits of information and I can remember stuff that literally happened in 1987. I can remember watching the Challenger go up in 1986 when I was only 6 years old. That January of 86, I remember the Challenger going up. Chernobyl was that year as well. 86 was not a good year for some people. But then I can learn something and then forget it in an hour.
Yeah, no, I think with me, I remember song lyrics really well. For some reason, it's like I'm a record label. I'm not a record label. No, I just have all this information about song lyrics and, you know, years and years and years back. But names, I can't do names. I never know anybody's name, ever, which is why I give people names in my head by accident. And I don't know where they come from, but then that gets locked in. And then their real names will never be accessible.
I host a lot of comedy shows, and I'll go, "Oh, what's your name, mate?" And he'll go, "Oh, it's Bob," or whatever. And then I'll talk to Bob for a bit, and I'll go along, and I think Bob said something interesting, the same as this guy, and try and put those two things together. But I can't remember Bob's name, so I don't go back because I'm too embarrassed because I only spoke to Bob 2 minutes ago. And I think it's something about names that, for whatever reason, we just put them in sort of a part of our mind.
It's like a temporary memory bank. But the stuff you don't need goes into the permanent locker.
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't
it? Why?
Like acorn snuffling pigs.
Yeah, panage pig, I really recommend. It's delicious. It's really good. And you can basically only get it in the New Forest.
It's the most normal meat you've ever recommended.
Yeah. That's true. Well, I didn't really recommend the crocodile burgers.
No, you didn't.
Oh, God, I don't know where to go next. We've got some good things. OK, so apparently, you know, influencers.
I do. Obviously, I am one.
Oh, yeah, that's it. You are?
No, I'm not. What would I influence people to do?
Watch this show?
Yes, I do that. I definitely do that.
You put your tweet up saying I'm on with Alex, but because I'm off social media for Lent, I can't retweet it. I'm looking at it going, go on, spread widely, go forth and multiply. I can't do anything myself. But influencers, as influencers are, have been flocking to Jeffrey Epstein's island.
Ghoulish. Very ghoulish.
I didn't know. Can you go there? Can you just get a...
It's in the British Virgin Islands, isn't it? Which is aptly named, I guess.
Oh, God.
But it's... I don't know. Yes, I'm sure you can, but you must have to go to another island and then perhaps charter a boat or get a boat or do whatever, pedlo, to get yourself
jet ski,
whatever it might be,
snorkel,
over to Epstein's Island. But
James Bond approach underwater.
The reason they're doing it is for clicks, because the 52 million collective views of these videos of influencers that have gone onto the island and said, "Oh, this is where Epstein lived," or "This is where this happened," or "Prince Andrew did the fandango," or whatever.
There's nothing new about this, though, because there's a girl from Gloucester. I don't know how Fred and Rose West come up every show, but somehow I always manage to link everything back to them. They had to take down 55 Cromwell Street. They had to because you just get all these types of people. Before social media even existed, they'd be going to sort of do weird things there.
Exactly. And but they didn't take down Remington Place, did they, interestingly?
What's Remington Place?
Is a place where, I forget the name of the serial killer there. He, Nielsen, I think it might be.
Oh,
but because it was
Dennis Nielsen.
Yeah, because it was prime London real estate. The thing about Gloucester is the value of the house isn't quite the same as if it's in the middle of London. Gloucester's beautiful, by the way.
Is it?
Well, I mean...
It should be beautiful. It was once beautiful.
I haven't been into Gloucester probably for 20 years.
I wouldn't.
So I remember it being fairly nice.
It's got good elements.
But... yeah, they had to knock it. I don't know. Nothing would attract me to go there, though. I wouldn't think, that's where Fred and Rose lived. So
it's amazing when people come and visit me now. They always. It's surprising how many people say, "Can we go to Cromwell Street?" It is still, there is a strange thing about it. It's like, when we rubberneck on motorways if someone's had an accident. There is something that draws us. There's this whole sort of underworld, isn't there, online of people watching grotesque videos. I used to
mine used to watch beheadings.
Oh. There's a museum in Gloucestershire that actually basically is a museum of that stuff. I had a boyfriend who had a thing for watching Chinese industrial accidents.
Really? Specifically the Chinese ones?
Oh, I was, I don't know. We're no longer together.
No. Because of his hobby?
Well, various hobbies, I think. Too many hobbies. This one really appealed to me because I don't even know how to bring this one in, but there's some sort of robot which works in a hot pot restaurant in California, Heidi Lau. I think there's a branch of that in London, Heidi Lau. I've been to it, it's good. I don't think they got robots there. But so I didn't realise we were so advanced that robots are now working in restaurants and delivering food, but apparently they are. This robot does dancing. Like, here it is. So there's this robot, and it dances around in the restaurant. Blimmin' heck, there's Asimov doing his thing. He's waving his arms around like he's doing a Mexican. And you've got this. Look at that. There's a waitress holding him by his collar because he's gone absolutely tonto. He's like fast forwarding. His arms are flailing everywhere. He's chucking around food and plates. He's basically having to be apprehended.
I'm not comfortable with this. I've never seen anything robot-related that makes me want one of these robots.
It's absolutely out of control.
It's like a petulant child.
Do you think there's going to be Robots Lives Matters? Video of, like, the waitress?
Certainly. They will inevitably take over. They will do, won't they? These robots, don't you find it... Do you not find it slightly unnerving?
I find it slightly unnerving. But the thing I find even more unnerving is realising how far behind we are. No, because I still sort of get the impression we're the developed world. And then you see these Chinese drone displays and dancing robots in California, cocktail-making robots in sort of Singapore or whatever. And I'm like, what have we got?
No, we're not advanced anymore, are we? I think because of the sort of period we grew up in where there's been so much change, we've got a memory of maybe the end, not quite the end of the empire, because neither of us that old, but we saw such great technological changes. We lived through, if you're a 90s child, you basically, that decade, you lived through the most momentous change.
It was actually, it was basically, I think between about 1997 and 2005, everything changed. There's basically mobile phones became everywhere. They could start taking photographs. Internet really became widely available. Social media, digital cameras, even laptops.
Yep.
When I first went to university in 2002, nobody had a laptop.
No.
Everyone had the sort of tower, massive computers. And then within 3 years, you basically had the introduction of Google or something like that. Search engines, digital cameras.
Ask Jeeves was the first.
Ask Jeeves,
search engine I used.
Yeah.
That would have been about 97, 98 when I think it became... I was in an office job then, and I remember people were incredibly old-fashioned about it. If you sent an email, they didn't consider that to be sort of a traceable piece of contracted business.
Yeah.
You'd still have to send a letter or a memo because the people just didn't trust emails. Of course, now basically nearly everyone's just an email sender and receiver. That's an actual job almost now, isn't it? That's all some people do.
Yeah. Do you know, I actually preferred the days when you actually had to stick to arrangements as well. One of the worst things about the inception of mobile phones is when I was a kid, if you wanted to go meet your mates to just loiter, because that's what you did, wasn't it? You'd be like, let's meet by the clock tower at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you'd all sort of stand around there, and after about 10 minutes, you'd sort of, the party would start progressing around its course, doing Lord knows what. Whereas now people have got mobile phones, they're perennially late, they cancel last minute. It's almost like, sticking to a plan is optional now.
Yeah, because you never had to. Now you don't actually have to really meet in person, so you haven't got to go to someone's door and say, "Are you coming out to play?" or "I can't do this today," or whatever. There's no face-to-face communication, so you can hide behind your mobile phone or WhatsApp or whatever, and everyone's kind of more and more isolated. Whilst the weird thing about it is everybody's actually more connected, but we are becoming more and more isolated as a result.
This is becoming philosophy hour.
Yeah, well, it is, isn't it?
Forget the
It's only a
weird.
matter of time,
Forget the humour. We started being all jolly about a robot, busting shapes and cutlery and plates in a restaurant in California, and it's like, but we're now so isolated.
We are.
It's so sad. Anyway, let's try and cheer ourselves up with an advert break and come back with more weird joy.
Across the UK, on DAB+, on your smart speaker, on your smart TV, and on your side. This is Talk.
People are very disappointed in you about Rillington Place. Well, apparently 10 Rillington Place was where Christie... I've never heard of him.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be up on the serial killers. They're dying out now.
And so, is it still there?
10 Rillington Place is still there, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Well, they disappointed in me because I said it was Nielsen, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I've let people down.
Yeah, you've got to get your serial killer knowledge.
Next week I'll do a full apology at the beginning of Weird Hour.
Exactly.
Just cut straight to me.
Written apology
Last
to the
week
memory
I said this and I apologise for that.
I like that, a correction.
Yeah.
Apparently the UK does have a robot.
I'm sure it does.
It's in 10 Downing Street. Yeah, I know. Someone got there.
Oh, yes.
Of course they got there. So here's another fun little story. This happened in Coventry. A little thug called Jordan Peebles. That's a little thug name, old Jordan Peebles.
It is, isn't it?
32 years old, so not that little. Decided he wanted to go and raid a store. Armed raid with a knife, or a large kitchen knife. So he goes in to this store, and this is all being captured on CCTV. That's the dancing robot again then. There's Jordan Peebles in digital format. He goes into this store, and the shopkeeper has the wherewithal to get out the store,
yes.
and then pulls down the shutters after him. And there's Jordan Peebles desperately begging police to let him out. He's heard asking an officer, "Mate, can you get me out of here, please?"
There's just no planning, are there, with these people? I don't want to talk down his intelligence, but my guess is that he's not especially bright. I mean, he's gone into a shop with a knife to try. What was he hoping to get? What did he ever? What was his loot?
I'm guessing he went for the till.
Yeah.
rather than just a Mars bar.
Pot noodle. See, I was just immediately thinking of food. I was thinking, I don't need cash because I'm just going to spend it on food.
You're just basing it on your younger self working in the news agency. You're there thinking,
oh, so
that was me, what would I take
I got
in?
caught. That's so embarrassing. But I'm glad I did get caught because I could have started a real stealing spree.
You could have become Jordan Peebles
I
in
could have been
later
Jordan
life.
Peebles.
Paul Peebles.
But I'm glad. I mean, this is fantastic, isn't it? Schadenfreude.
I love that. Yeah.
Isn't it? It's just, he's gone in, and then all of a sudden he's become this kind what we would say down my way, a squinny. So he's
squinny. What's that
word? So I didn't realise the word squinny, which is very much associated to Portsmouth. It just means someone who whines and moans and complains about a lot. I had no idea that it didn't travel outside of Portsmouth at all.
I love local language.
Yeah, I was in Birmingham when I was about 20 years old. I called someone a squinny, and they were like, "What?" I was like, "Just stop squinnying." It's like,
we used to have a word in Gloucester when I was growing up at school, and I think it was just so hyper local. It only existed in the housing estate where I grew up, which was danity.
Don't know what danity is.
Danity was something great, and you'd be, "Oh, it's danity.
That is danity.
Oh, that is Dan." It's Dan.
Because we always shorten it in the end, don't we? It just becomes duh.
And it had to be accompanied by like.
I can't do that.
Oh, that is Dan. Yeah. I'm going to try and bring back danity. I'm just going to slip it into my broadcasts and, see if it takes on.
I used to say radical and rad to mean
Oh, yeah,
cool.
radical
This
and rad.
sounds so cheesy now.
It sounds gross, doesn't it?
Yeah,
What do people say today, though?
Oh, all sorts of stuff. They've got their own language. I can't even understand it.
Oh, do you know what really upset me? And I don't know why this really upset me, but it really upset me. The other day, I found myself looking at Sadiq Khan's social media platforms, which is never a good idea anyway. No. But he's changed his thing underneath his name to say London Maxing with the 2 X's. I'm not liking this thing. What's it called? Like, we were talking about this yesterday. What's that thing called where people smash their face up with a hammer to look good? Looks maxing. There you go. Perkin Warbeck knows. But there's a guy called Clavicular or something
who
that sounds encourages people on social media to hammer their faces, like smash up their bones to get better jawlines. And
that's an actual thing.
That is a thing, and it's called looks maxing.
But maxing is a term that says to make something better, I assume.
Would you do?
So he's no, I would not do.
As you get older,
there's
and you
no
want
maxing
sharpened
going on
features,
here.
do you want me to bring my toolkit next week? We can look
I just need to go on a non-carb diet, and I can sharpen up. I don't need a hammer.
But the thing is, it's all like connected to the manosphere, all of that stuff, like looks maxing. This is how you go. It's really sad, isn't it?
The manosphere is weird, isn't it?
It is weird
because the reason I say it's weird, don't come at me, is because they're only trying to appeal to men.
Yeah.
So these are uber straight alpha guys who do everything just to appeal to men.
Yeah, that's where they're going wrong. That's why they're not getting girls. Dear person watching Manosphere, how about just treating girls nicely and talking to her like she's a human being? You might get a date that way.
Yeah, because it's, by the way, lads, it's never been easy to, to win over the opposite sex, if that's what you want to do. It does take a certain amount of charm and wit. And, it's not that... I don't think...
Did you have a good game when you were younger? Not saying you haven't got a good game now, but...
I mean, some say I've not changed at all, Alex. But but I've always been comfortable talking to people, which helps. Trying to be funny, but not in an awkward way. I've always felt that I could hold my own in terms of just having a conversation. And I'm genuinely interested in other people as well. So I sort of probe and ask questions. Nothing too personal. Again, this isn't dating hour.
But this is what's so crazy about all these sort of poor boys who are watching the Manosphere and looks maxing is... Yeah, for most women, it's amazing how much just being a nice, decent human with a sense of humour and a bit of a brain can trump whatever you look like.
So one advantage I had is growing up is I was one boy in a family of girls. I was the eldest.
You got the inside
on one
intel.
side, I was the eldest, but all of my cousins were girls. So I was surrounded by girls the whole time, which I guess gave me an insight. And I think and I had a sister, of course.
Do you still have a sister?
I still have a sister. That sounded tragic, didn't
it? What happened to her? Did she go hiking in New Mexico?
She's just not little anymore. I probably shouldn't say.
Well, you need to stop speaking now. Yes. You're going to be in big trouble when you come off air.
Anyway, I do have a sister, and she's alive, and all is well. I hope she's doing well. So I think that I always saw that as an advantage in the end because...
I tell you what, what's the age gap between you and your sister?
2.5 years.
That's almost the sweet spot, because my brother and I, it's sort of 2 school years.
Yeah, that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, 2 school. That is the sweet spot, because what happens is when you're a teenager and you have your mates coming over, you just snog all your brother's mates and he snogs all of your mates, and that's
perfect.
how you sort of, you
I
know.
never snogged any of Joe's mates, actually. Not one.
That's because you weren't looks maxing.
No, I wasn't looks maxing.
If you'd gone into your dad's toolkit, you might have been more lucky. So I had to pick this one out of the things I found knocking about in the newspapers, which is apparently the Cotswolds has gone woke. That's hardly news, by the way. The Cotswolds has been woke for a very, very long time, particularly the Oxfordshire Cotswolds. But they're no longer doing, I mean, some of the things that gong baths and breath work is what they're up to.
Have you ever been to one of these sound gong baths? I've not been to one, but I've seen them on YouTube and I've seen the places that do them. And it's all Reiki and all that other stuff as well.
So basically you've got Reiki, which I've never understood Reiki. A man
Healing without touching.
Yeah, a man did sort of try and Reiki me up one day. And I was...
It sounds like someone from the manosphere.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to make you feel better. And I was just like, nothing. You can't just hover your hand on someone.
Of course, because that doesn't...
This isn't particularly work. Wading through streams for cold water swimming. I'm going to do a bit of that when I go home, but that's just swimming, isn't it? With what you've got accessible, which isn't the seaside.
And no one's ever
lakes.
done hot water swimming, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, not in the UK anyway.
No.
That don't exist. Oh, crystals. You got a lot of that down your way.
Yeah, there is crystals down
Or the
my
crystal
way.
people.
Yeah, again, it's not something I've ever gotten into. One thing I can talk about, and this could be a teaser for another show, is my family are full to the brim of spiritualist mediums. People who speak to the dead.
Oh my gosh. Can we get one on?
And I grew up with this. Well, my granddad,
Is this why you said 90s, when I had a sister? You said, no, she's still here.
I've been
like,
speaking
hello,
to
Joe.
Oh, look, let me tell you something. And I've never said this particularly on air, let alone in public. My childhood had a lot of dead people in it that would be consulted. So you genuinely consulted.
I always wondered what happened to the kid in Sixth Sense. It's you.
It's me. So I grew up around spiritualism and dead people. Where's that place in the New Forest where the witches all come from? Burley, yeah.
Yeah, I love going to Burley. That is really good. It's so witchy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of witchiness in Gloucestershire as well.
There is.
And the further west you go, the witchier it becomes.
Well, you go down to Tintagel and all that.
The peak witchy is Glastonbury, of course. That's just very witchy. But there's always been lots of witchiness in Gloucestershire. I like witchiness.
Yeah, because I grew up with two things. Girls.
Girls and dead people.
Girls and people who could talk to dead people.
Wow. And did that help you in talking to girls? Do you have to is it a similar approach? You know, engage in conversation.
Well, I guess it's an interesting thing to talk about. But when it's your own family, it's difficult. You know, I've never sort of nailed my colours to the mast and said this is absolutely 100% true. But when you've grown up around it, when it's, you know, close family talking to you about this sort of stuff,
have you seen stuff that sort of you think that isn't just someone messing around?
Yes.
That's definitely.
Yeah, no, I've never seen a ghost or anything like that. But what I have seen is people speak to dead people, predict something, and then that 100% come true.
How can the dead people know in advance?
I don't know. There's obviously some sort of plan.
Can you get someone in your family to ask the dead people how they know what's happening in the future? Because I just need a bit more information.
We should. By the way, I'm not gifted. I can't.
Oh,
I cannot talk to the dead people.
If you could, who would you invite on the show?
Oh, who would we like to talk to? I tell you what, it'd be fun to talk to Margaret Thatcher, wouldn't it?
That was mine. Oh, see, psychic. You have got the gift.
We have.
Because I was thinking Margaret Thatcher. That's basically
two right-wingers thinking of their favourite dead person. How could they have got to Margaret Thatcher?
There's literally no need to ever have an election again, or just have seances instead
to
run the country. You know, instead of democracy, we just need Ouija boards.
Yeah. Well, this is another thing. Yeah.
But yeah, no. Apparently, in the Cotswolds, you've got cacao ceremonies. I have no idea what that involves.
No, me either. Cacao.
Yeah.
Sounds like a noise an exotic bird makes.
Something. I don't know. Emotional healing, opening the heart. Like, I don't know. Bone broth, it says in here. Roast dinner for bone broth. Everyone's like, this stuff what they say is all going woo-woo. This is just going back to being a caveman, essentially.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of sense in eating real food, like marrow and meat and vegetables, because, you know, this is what we were designed to eat. We weren't